Hello everyone, welcome to Sports Taza. Today's Sunday's double header was very one-sided. दोनों ही गेम टीम बैटिंग फर्स्ट ने जीती, लंबी लंबी मार्जिन से जीती. पहले हम बात करेंगे सीएसके दिल्ली के एनालिसिस से. तो धीराज, सीएसके ये मैच जीत के हैज सीएसके kept its hope alive for the playoffs?
Hi, Vidit. I think hope mathematically are still there. CSK still needs to win the remaining games and hope that a lot of the other games go in their favor. I mean, as a fan, as someone who watches cricket, I don't think that CSK can qualify from there. But again, I think it's more important for them to finish off on a good note. If they finish off winning the next 2-3 games, I think for the next season, the confidence the team will have, they know the probably they will be more sure of the combination they want to play in the next year's IPL.
ओके, पर आप एक बार पहले क्विकली एक पॉइंट्स टेबल को देख लेते हैं. सो पॉइंट्स टेबल हैज़ गॉट मोर इंटरेस्टिंग विद आरसीबी विनिंग टुडे, डीसी लूजिंग, सीएसके एथ पे आ गई है, केकेआर कल बुरी तरह हारी है. तो एलएसजी जीटी, दो नई टीम्स को मैं हटा देता हूँ. व्हाट अबाउट नंबर 3 and 4? व्हाट डू यू थिंक, हु इज़ विनिंग द रेस एंड कैसे चलने वाला है ये?
I think main reason why I felt that it's going to be tough for CSK or actually any other team below RCB and RR is because there's that 4 point gap already. I mean, if you look at RCB has played one more game, but the other teams all have played 11 matches and they're 4 points behind. So even if to compensate for that third, fourth place, first they need to win both those games. And after that, that is if the other teams don't win more games. So I think because that top four already has that gap, it's already kind of one sided where I feel that mostly if you see RR and RCB, even if they win one game of the two or three that they have remaining each, it will become very tough for the other teams to try and qualify.
यस, थोड़ा टफ तो है बट टेबल इज श्योरली गॉट इंटरेस्टिंग विद दिस. एंड आते हैं सीएसके के ओपनिंग पेयर पे. सो इन द फर्स्ट 8 मैचेस सीएसके ओपनिंग पेयर हाईएस्ट स्कोर वाज 28 रन्स. लास्ट 3 मैच जब से कॉन्वे आए हैं, मैं आपको स्क्रीन में ओपनिंग पार्टनरशिप का स्कोर दिखाता हूँ. 182 जो हिस्टोरिक सीएसके पार्टनरशिप थी, देन 52, देन 110. Conway also becomes the third CSK player after Duplessis and Gaikwad to hit 3 consecutive 50s for CSK. तो कॉनवे का एक्सक्लूजन हमने भी बात की जब फर्स्ट मैच का ड्रॉप कर दिया था कि क्यों ड्रॉप किया है. एंड सिंस ही इज कम बैक, सीएसके का ओपनिंग पेयर एक अलग ही लय और फॉर्म में चल रहा है. सो आई यू डू यू थिंक सीएसके ओपनिंग पेयर इज नाउ स्टेबलाइज्ड एंड सेटल्ड?
बिल्कुल, आई थिंक विद अब जो कुछ सीजन पहले हमने देखते थे कि फैफ डुप्लेसी वो थे एक मेन स्टेज जो ऑलरेडी थे ओपनिंग पार्टनरशिप एंड उनके अराउंड द अदर ओपनिंग पेयर विल वर्क विद हिम एंड और गायकवाड हैड अ वेरी गुड सीजन विद फाफ प्लेइंग अलोंग विद हिम एंड आई थिंक वही हम देख रहे हैं. पहले कुछ मैचेस में सेटल्ड नहीं थे, दे ट्राइड अ फ्यू डिफरेंट ओपनिंग कॉम्बिनेशंस. गायकवाड के भी रन नहीं आ रहे थे बैट से एंड विद कॉन्वॉय कमिंग इन द लास्ट 2-3 गेम्स वी हैव सीन in both occasions, we've seen kind of a different combination where in one match we saw Gaikwad taking the runs and, quickly, opening and scoring runs quickly at the start. While in today's game, we saw that Gaikwad was struggling. He was kind of playing run a ball. He was playing the second fiddle, while Convoy looked more confident of his batting. And वो एक तरह से runs तेजी से Convoy ने बनाए. I think roughly 200 के strike rate पे वो पूरी innings में ही खेले अपना जब जब तक उन्होंने बैटिंग करी है. तो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग कॉम्बिनेशन है बिकॉज दोनों बैट्समैन केपेबल है तेज रन बनाने की एंड दोनों बैट्समैन केपेबल है स्लो खेलने की. तो आई थिंक ऑन देयर डे दे चूज अगर किसी के बैट से नहीं रन बन रहे हैं देन द अदर वन टेक्स केयर एंड गेट्स द टीम गोइंग इवन इफ द स्टार्ट इज स्लो.
नहीं, बिल्कुल मुझे लग रहा है कि ये सीएसके का बहुत ही स्टेबलाइज पेयर है. एंड जैसे जब सीएसके ने कॉनवे को खरीदा था, लोग कहते हैं डुप्लेसी का रिप्लेसमेंट है, कुछ कहते हैं नेक्स्ट माइकल हसी का रिप्लेसमेंट हो सकता है एंड गुड बाय. पर जब फर्स्ट मैच का ड्रॉप किया था, सब बहुत सरप्राइज थे, स्पेशली सीएसके. वो ऐसा करते नहीं है. सो आई थिंक द ओपनिंग पेयर लुक सेटल्ड. पर सीएसके के दो प्लेयर्स जो पहले चल रहे थे, शिवम दुबे एंड उथप्पा, Dube आज खेले, but that is only because Jadeja got injured. So CSK made changes. Dube and Bravo came in place of Pretorius and Jadeja. Do you think without Jadeja, this squad is more settled, given the form Jadeja is in with the bat?
Uh, I don't think so. That is true with it. I mean, honestly, the things that Jadeja brings to the table. I mean, he's an insanely good fielder. He gives you those 4 overs, and with the bat on his day, we know that he can play as good or even better than Shivam Dube. His form has certainly been struggling. Obviously, he hasn't gotten the runs, especially coming back of very good batting form for Team India. and hasn't done great in bowling as well. But I don't think so. The team will be much more settled. Like today, if you see, Sean Dube was a sixth bowler, but they were playing Moeen Ali as their fifth bowler. So that is not what CSK would generally want. They would not want Moeen Ali to be their fifth bowler. So I think on overall today it worked out for them. They only needed the five bowlers to bowl. Dube didn't have to bowl. We've seen in previous matches कि दुबे की जब bowling आई है तो इशू रहा है. वो थोड़े इजी रन्स दिए हैं उन्होंने पिछले मैचेस में भी. तो मेरे हिसाब से जडेजा के साथ टीम स्ट्रांग ही होगी. हाँ उनकी बैटिंग में थोड़ा इशू है, लेकिन अगर आप देखें आज दुबे के ऊपर भी जगह, बट वहां पर जनरली रॉबिन उथप्पा आते हैं, फिर मोइन अली आते हैं ऊपर बैटिंग करने. दुबे क्विकली रन बना रहे हैं, बट आई थिंक वो सेम केपेबिलिटी है बोथ मोइन अली एंड रॉबिन उथप्पा के पास.
एक और सरप्राइज टीम जो सीएसके ने किया है, मोइन अली वन डाउन की जगह नीचे आ रहे हैं. सो डू यू थिंक दैट इज अ गुड मूव? बिकॉज मोइन अली इज वेरी गुड अगेंस्ट द पेस, एंड लास्ट सीजन सीएसके अगर जीती है तो मोइन अली का बहुत बड़ा रोल था उसमें. So yes, and जैसे Dipansh, a new user is saying, Dipansh, welcome on the channel. And if you're new to Sports Taza, do subscribe because we do daily IPL analysis. He's saying DC is a team full of hitters. I mean, how many times Warner will bail us out? Yes, Dipansh. But if you look at CSK's bowling, आज match था, CSK has a very very weak bowling attack. If you see, they open in the power play with two uncapped players, Mukesh and Simmerjeet. उसके बाद आज उनके पास कोई सिक्स्थ bowling option नहीं था. So I think target थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो गया था. It was a 200 plus, but CSK's bowling is actually very very weak on paper right now. So Dhiraj, what do you think about this? No anchor in DC. He's saying that it is just
I
hitters. Do
think
you agree with this?
Uh, to some extent, yes, I do agree that the way DC's batting is settled is that with their 3, 4, 5, probably six as well, everyone comes in and just hits the ball. In this case, I feel Pant has to take slightly more. He has to take a step down and think that okay, he is someone who can hit the ball from the very first go, but then he has to be someone who kind of plays out those overs. He cannot be someone who gets out, scores a 30 or 15, and then gets out every time. Because otherwise, like you said, that there's no anchor in the role. There is Mitchell Marsh, who everyone expects to be that anchor, I feel, but it is a different Mitchell Marsh that we are seeing in IPL. He's trying to hit from ball one, and this is not the same Mitchell Marsh who would come at three down and like we saw for Australia, kind of batted out 20 overs and played those brilliant innings in the T20 World Cup, and what he does in the Big Bash as well. So I think Mitchell Marsh and Pant को responsibility लेनी पड़ेगी कि at least one of them has to play out. उनके अराउंड रॉबिन पॉवेल, रिपल पटेल, अक्षर पटेल जो भी बैटिंग करने आ रहे हैं नीचे, वो रन बना सकते हैं. बट इन दोनों में से किसी एक बैट्समैन को, बिकॉज हर बार ऐसा आपने कहा कि वार्नर नहीं चलेंगे, they need the middle order to kind of stick there and one batsman has to play throughout the innings.
Yes, I absolutely agree. However, DC ने जो आज एक change किया था, they got Shrikar Bharat. I was particularly very happy with that change because I think last season he had a very good season with RCB. He deserves to be in the squad. और जो DC का एक uncapped middle order Indian player है, they've tried Mandeep, they've tried Sarfaraz, they've kept Lalit, now they've got Ripple Patel. मुझे लग रहा है रिपल पटेल को अब अगले मैच निकाल देंगे, या तो ललित यादव को वापस लाएंगे, या आई थिंक दे शुड स्टिक विद भरत बिकॉज पृथ्वी शॉ शायद वापस आए, तो भरत को नहीं हटाना चाहिए बिकॉज भरत कैन ऑल्सो प्ले दैट मिडिल ऑर्डर रोल जैसे उन्होंने आरसीबी के लिए लास्ट ईयर किया था. तो आई थिंक वन इंडियन मिडिल ऑर्डर जो ये गैप चल रहा है उनका अभी, या कभी कभी वो दो तीन भी खिला लेते हैं, ललित और रिपल साथ में खेले थे लास्ट मैच, सरफराज भी हैं. सो आई थिंक ये एक स्लॉट है जो अभी तक फाइनल नहीं है, बट डीसी के लिए नेक्स्ट 3 मैचेस विल बी अ मस्ट विन गेम. वन ईजी गेम फॉर देम, मुंबई के साथ है, रिलेटिवली ईजी मैच कहूँगा मैं बिकॉज मुंबई इज स्ट्रगलिंग. और ऐसा सी एस के साथ भी यही किया जा रहा था कि डीसी के मैच सीएसके और मुंबई के साथ हैं, रिलेटिवली टीम्स विच आर नॉट फायरिंग, सो दैट शुड हेल्प देम, बट दैट डिड नॉट हैपन. अधिराज, मोइन को लेके कंसर्न था. मोइन गॉट ड्रॉप्ड, ही वाज इंजर्ड, देयर स्टिल सम अनक्लैरिटी ओवर देयर, बट ही इज बैक इन फॉर्म. लास्ट मैच ऑल्सो गेटिंग विकेट्स. मतलब आज बैटिंग नहीं की, पर लास्ट मैच में भी जब तक मोइन क्रीज में थे लग रहा था सीएसके चेज कर जाएगी, पर आज जडेजा की नहीं थे तो मोइन गॉट टू बोल हिज 4 overs एंड ही डिड वेरी वेरी वेल.
Yeah, I think with it, if you see, and this is happening throughout, we've already played 50 games, and we know that the games are only happening in 3 or 4 grounds. So I think we know that as time passes, the wickets are going to get slower. It's going to start assisting the spinners more. We saw Hasaranga in the first game today. It was a day game. Hasaranga took 5 wickets, and similarly, we all know Moeen is capable with the ball. I mean, he's someone very similar to Jadeja. He can bat, he can bowl, he can field for you. And in today's case, he was playing as a fifth bowler. Normally, you don't see Moeen Ali playing as the fifth bowler, but certainly very happy with the way he's bowled today. Taking full, he's a very clever bowler, I would say. I think, and plus with Dhoni behind the stumps, I think that combination really works out for them. We saw Raina bowling, used to bowl quite a lot when Dhoni initially, when Raina used to play. I think it's something similar to that. And I would be more happy to see Moeen Ali and Jaddu both playing as the two CSK spinners, even though Tishana has done really well. And I would still want him to be there in the squad. I think these three, as time goes on, and the next 3-4 matches that they have, if it assists the spinners, I think it'll be very good for CSK to continue with Moeen Ali bowling.
Yes, absolutely. Moeen Ali back for them performing certainly does very well for CSK. एक और चीज़ जो आज दिल्ली का कोलैप्स हुआ, लाइक दीपांशु वाज आल्सो टॉकिंग, कोई एंकर नहीं है तो उनका मेजर कोलैप्स हुआ है एट द एंड ऑफ 7 overs. DC was 71 for 2. नेक्स्ट 20 balls they made 12 runs but lost 4 wickets. लाइन से सब लोग आउट हो गए. So do you think that was the issue? Because 7 overs they were keeping up with the run rate. 10 का NRR था, they were going ahead with that. But that middle order collapse, like Powell got out, उसके बाद पंत मतलब मोइन अली took 2 wickets, रिपल पटेल ने छक्का मारा अपनी सेकंड बॉल पे, थर्ड बॉल वापस गए, आउट हो गए. So do you think that was the issue why DC lost? Like were
I
they in
think
a very hurry?
I think that is true, and that goes back to the same question that all their batsmen are essentially who will want to come and hit the ball out of the ground. There's no one who's looking to rotate the strike. There's no one who's kind of trying to make that partnership work. Even Mitchell Marsh, if you saw, he scored 25 odd runs today, but most of the runs are coming in boundaries. There are not a lot of singles coming into their batting. I think with Pant, we already know he only tries to deal in boundaries. There's no one who's kind of rotating the strike. Same goes with Powell. Same goes with we saw with Ripple Patel today. And by the time it comes down to Akshar or Shardul Thakur, they're anyways too late. They require way too much for them to do anything. So I think it's important for it. It was important because, like you said, in 7 overs, after 7 overs, they were in a good position. They were keeping up with the run rate. It was in check. So they just wanted one of those two to probably start hitting, and the other one had to kind of stay. So that didn't happen, and that is the mentality. I feel it has worked out for Delhi in the past. We saw in the last game, Powell just completely destroyed the opposition the way he batted, but it's not going to work every game. So that
Yes,
anchor is
so I think
required.
Powell coming back to form is very good for DC. मतलब starting 7-8 मैच बहुत struggle किया है. Last 4 matches he's been scoring runs, so that's a positive. Another question, would you want Noggin in the squad over Fizz? Because Fizz did well in the initial games. You can only keep one because now Powell and Marsh are playing both. Yeah, the Powell wasn't informed to Marsh replacement thing, but they stuck with Powell and he's actually scoring runs for them. So which overseas bowler would you prefer, Fizz or Noggin?
Uh, Honestly, if Delhi can somehow strengthen their batting, because Mitchell Marsh as a bowler is certainly not working out for them. Today also we saw he bowled 3 overs, but was very expensive in the 3 overs that he's bowled.
वो जो स्पिनर्स
He
पिट गए ना आपके, अक्षर पिट गए, कुलदीप पिट गए, दे कुड नॉट बोल द कोटा, सो दे हैड टू गेट मार्श. वैसे मार्श ने लास्ट गेम में भी 4 ओवर डाले थे विच यू हैवंट सीन, बट टुडे आई थिंक कुलदीप अक्षर पिट गए, सो दे हैड टू गेट मार्श.
I mean, they did, but if you see, and that was generally for everyone, you can't have Shardul bowl your 3 overs. And that's been an issue with Pant if you've seen across. Even if your bowlers are not, I think Akshar bowled 3 overs today when he just gave some 20-25 runs in his 3 overs. And it's something that we've seen in the past. Pant sometimes misses out who he's giving the bowling to, and his main strike bowlers are not getting their full quota overs, which has been an issue. But like you mentioned, I think the question about Fizz, who's been doing really well. If Delhi can somehow manage to get both Nokia and Fizz, I would really love that because Khalid has been insane for them. He's been bowling really well. So if they can get two fast bowlers, foreigners who can do well, because right now their bowling is also struggling. Considering 200 against CSK again was not what Delhi would have wanted as bowling first. But yeah, I think if out of the two of them, I would still prefer Fizz. I think so over Nokia.
They retained Nogia, I think so, and Nogia ने last over में अच्छी wickets ली. But do you think they miss Lalit Yadav because there's so many lefties in the CSK order? तो ललित यादव की ऑफ स्पिन थोड़ी काम में आती है, नहीं कोई फायदा नहीं होता.
I think once the openers got going with it, once they had already gotten to that 110 in some 10, 11 overs, then it was just, it doesn't really matter who's going to bowl to them. I think they knew that everyone had the license to come and hit. And really happy with the way Dhoni also came in and batted. That 21 of 8 really pushed up that score to that 200 mark. So I think once the openers had given them the start, then it was just about the middle order to come and get those quick runs. So it didn't matter which bowler would have bowled to them, I think.
Okay, fair point. Coming to the second game, last time RCB played SRH, RCB scored 68 runs, and today they've beaten SRH by 67 runs. So they get their redemption, get their revenge done. And SRH has lost 4 on the go. Do you think a concern? They won 5 also. लगातार 5 जीते थे, पर अब लगातार 4 जीत गए towards the crucial end of the tournament. Do you think that will hamper their qualification mark?
I think it already has with it, and they were really looking forward to like the team who would probably go and qualify after those 5 wins in a row. But we always knew the issue with SRH is actually their openers. Like, uh, it was the reason that they got those wins when Abhishek Sharma and Kane were batting well. And now we saw that in the past few games, especially Williamson is not getting runs at all. We discussed it in the
पर आज
last
तो
video
रन
as
आउट
well.
हुए यार, मतलब रन आउट को तो
I
नहीं
I
काउंट.
agree that, but if you not look apart from that run out, also he's not gotten runs batting up the order. Maybe they can try something different because I agree today it was not his fault or whatever. He got run out. He didn't get the opportunity to score runs. But again, when you're chasing a steep target of 192, the issues will remain that Kane has to score quickly. And that's not his normal self. That's not what he plays. He plays that anchor role, which Rahul Tripathi, by the way, is playing brilliantly. Really happy with the way Tripathi has batted in throughout this season, and he did well today as well. But again, we know that SRH's batting depends a lot on their openers, and if they don't get runs, then it gets tough for that middle order, which is very weak to kind of score a big target or chase a big target.
बिल्कुल fair point. You've seen Markram and Tripathi actually bailing SRH out on so many occasions. Today also Tripathi was the only positive. He scored 58 runs of 37 balls. But coming to this question, can SRH drop Williamson? They have Glenn Phillips, who can play, but I don't think they're going to drop Williamson. So you
I
think
think
that's possible?
I don't think it's possible because who will captain SRH with it? Like the issue is not just can they
But
drop him
Puran,
on the back of their batting.
Puran is the new West Indian captain. Why can't he captain SRH? Or you have
I mean,
Markram, who मतलब overseas ही captain है. Replace कर दो overseas with overseas.
it's possible, but I don't see it happening. You give look at the issue with Kohli. It's the same thing. Though he's not RCB's captain anymore, but he's not getting runs at all. He will get those chances on the back of how good he is, or of the class
We'll
that we
come
know
to
of
Kohli
Kohli and
next,
Williamson.
but अभी एक बार SRH पे रहते हैं. Do you think I
So
put
I
down three options. इंडिया में अगर इंडियन रखना है तो भुवी है. ओवरसीज रखना है तो पूरन इज फर्स्ट, मार्करम इज सेकंड. पूरन
but
इज
I
द न्यू
don't see it happen. So I don't see with it that they drop Kane Williamson as captain. They've done it in the past with Warner, and it didn't turn out well for them. I don't see it happening with Williamson.
Absolutely. Coming to India's favorite cricket topic, Virat Kohli. Another duck for him, a golden duck. Last time RCB played SRH, he got out zero first ball. Today also zero first ball. आप मत बोलना प्लीज कि कोहली को रेस्ट करना चाहिए. What do you think is the concern? What is happening?
Uh, Honestly, I'm not going to even say that he should not open the innings because it's not, that he's having troubling like he's having trouble with the swing. Like we've seen on some cases with someone like with Aaron Finch. It's not that Kohli, he's getting out in different ways. It's not even that he's getting out on that ball outside off stump. He got out on a very easy wicket to Suchit. He was trying to pull. It was a ball that he could have hit anywhere. He ended up hitting it right in the hands of the fielder. So I think it's just that patch. It's and it will go away. We all know how good Kohli is as a batsman. But good for RCB that their middle order is firing for them. So it's not a concern for RCB right now with Faf, Glenn Maxwell, DK, Patidar making those runs today. But yes, RCB would really want Kohli to get going and score some big runs for them if they have to qualify. They're looking good to qualify if they have to move up in that table.
Absolutely, and what a finish by DK today, 30 of 8. मतलब लास्ट में उनकी एक कैच छूट गई थी, त्रिपाठी ने कैच छोड़ दी थी.
And then
Also,
he just
yes, last point, talk about Hasaranga. He took a 5 wicket haul today. And if you see the purple cap, Chahal is first with 22 wickets, Hasaranga is second with 21 wickets. Now imagine both of them bowling together for RCB, which was there last season, not this time. But I think
yeah.
RCB has finally caught pace, won 2 games, a concern for SRH. And on that note, thank you everyone for tuning in. Do subscribe to Sports